I need to be free of those telling me what to do in order to attain my fulfillment. If I suppress my sensual impulses and urges, I may do harm to my natural development. I am a mature person. I can read whatever I wish, or watch whatever kind of TV program or movies I wish. It doesn't affect me at all if I always say no to others in regards to
Sponge Word. This is written word.
I will never be accepted by others. I will never have any friends. I don't need confession. I haven't any graces. And besides, if I stay away more, there will be less danger. Routine confessions. My prayers don't seem to be answered. Seems to be answered. So what is the use of praying? My conscience is the only guide I need. As long as I am at peace with my conscience, I need not worry. Even if some of my acts and decisions are not always with the teachings of the church and so on without end is the cleverness of the evil one in exploiting our weaknesses, our likes and dislikes. I need to be free of those telling me what to do in order to attain my real fulfillment. If I suppress my sensual impulses and urges, I may do harm to my natural development. I am a mature person. I can read whatever I wish, watch whatever kind of TV program or movies I wish. It doesn't affect me at all if I always say no to others in regard to sex or drugs or alcohol. I will never be accepted by others. I will never have any friends. I don't need confession. I haven't any graces. And besides, if I stay away more, there will be less danger. More routine confessions. My prayers don't seem to be answered. Seem to be answered. So what is the use of praying? My conscience is the only guide I need. As long as I am at peace with my conscience, I need not worry. Even if some of my acts and decisions are not always blended songs said the chicks should I need to be free of those telling me what to do in order to attain my real fulfillment. If I suppress my sensual impulses and urges, I may do harm to my natural development. I am a mature person. I can read whatever I wish, watch whatever kind of TV program or movies I wish. It doesn't affect me at all. If I always say no to others in regard to sex or drugs or alcohol, I will never be accepted by others. I will never have many friends. I don't need confession. I haven't any great sins, and besides, if I stay away more, there will be less danger of routine confessions. My prayers don't seem to be answered, so what is the use of praying? My conscience is the only guide I need. As long as I am at peace with my conscience, I need not worry. Even some of my acts and decisions are not always aligned with the teachings of the I need to be free of those telling me what to do in order to attain my real fulfillment. If I suppress my sensual impulses and urges, I may do harm to my natural development. I am a mature person. I can read whatever I wish, watch whatever kind of TV program or movies I wish. It doesn't affect me at all. I don't need confession. I haven't any great sins, and besides, if I stay away more, there will be less danger of routine confessions. My prayers don't seem to be answered, so what is the use of praying? My conscience is the only guide I need.
Today, let us resolve to accept the huge amount of graces that God is raining down on us. We have His biblical promise in Romans 5:20 that with sin increased, grace abounded all the more. There is no doubt that sin is increasing today and everywhere we look, so we know that there is an abundance of grace raining down from heaven on each and every one of us as well. But our sins and our pride have as well as to keep the grace away from our soul. So let's pray for the grace to accept the graces. Today, let us resolve. Today, let us resolve. Today, let us resolve to accept the huge amount of graces that God is raining down on us. We have this biblical promise in Romans 5:20 that with sin increased, grace abounded all the more. There is no doubt that sin is increasing today everywhere we look, so we know that there is an abundance of grace raining down from heaven on each and every one of us as well. But our sins and our pride act as umbrellas to keep the graces away from us. So let's pray. grace, to accept the graces. Today let us resolve. Today let us resolve to accept the huge amount of graces that God is raining down on us. We have His biblical promise in Romans 5:20. There is an increase, grace abound, and also more. There is no cloud that sin is increasing today, and everywhere we look, so we know that there is an abundance of grace raining down from heaven on each and every one of us as well.
Calling once again regarding the candidacy that you filed and running for 2026 on the Republican Party for District.
Today let us resolve.
Dying to self, killing your ego, and living in the perfect imitation of Christ and Mary. When you are forgotten or neglected and you don't hurt with the insult, but your heart is happy, that is dying to self. When your advice is disregarded, your opinions ridiculed, and you refuse to let anger rise in your heart and take it all in patience, loving silence that is dying to soul. When you lovingly and patiently bear disorder, irregularity, tardiness, and annoyance, and endurance as Jesus endured it, that is dying to soul. When you never care to refer to yourself in conversation or record your own good works or itch for praise after an accomplishment, when you can truly love to be alone. When you can see your
How much for you? What it's like to be a triple A, and your battery goes back in your home in Chicago. How much is it gonna cost? How much time is it gonna take? Does he have a new battery? Was my membership fee even worth it? Was the cute girl who called me about the car insurance just trying to get me to sign up for car insurance? But this service is not going to be worth it. They're not going to get rid of car insurance. We're going to find out on the John Kitover Show, starring your good friend, candidate Congressman John, in the 16th District of Illinois. Hi, everybody. This is candidate Congressman John Kitover, your friend here in the 16th District. This is your campaign update. We're about to print off today the final decisions by the administrative judges of the Illinois State Board of Elections. We're going to photograph them after we print them and put them on John Kitover on Instagram. Then we're going to discuss what happened with our campaign and why our objections were dismissed and how we can prevent that in the future. This will be the after action ready review. Go to johnforcongress.com. This is candidate John.
That is dying to self. When your advice is disregarded, your opinions ridiculed, and you refuse to let anger rise in your heart and take it all in patience, loving silence. that is dying to self. When you lovingly and patiently bear disorder, irregularity, tardiness, and annoyance, endure it as Jesus endured it. That is dying to self. When you never care to refer to yourself in conversation or record your own good works, or reach for praise after an accomplishment. When you can truly love to be unknown, that is dying to self. When you can see your brother or sister prosper, and can honestly rejoice with him and feel no envy, even though your needs are greater. That is dying to self. When you are content with any food, any offering, any raiment, any climate or any society, that is dying to self. When you can take correction, when you can humbly submit inwardly as well as outwardly, with no rebellion or resentment rising up within your heart, that is dying to self.
Frequent confession is the cause of great good to the soul, because it purifies it, heals it, and confirms it in the service of God. We ought not therefore to omit confession on our fixed days for any business whatsoever, but go to confession first, to business afterwards, and the first will help the last. When we go to confession, we ought to persuade ourselves to find Jesus Christ in the person of our confessor. Give me 10 men really detached from the world, and I have the heart to believe I could convert the world with them. He who communicates often as he ought to do brings forth good fruit, the fruit of humility, the fruit of patience, the fruit of all the virtues. 5 penitents are not to go to confession for temporal ends, to get alms and the like. We ought to make no account of an immodest person, notwithstanding that he may possess other virtues. 7, the Holy Spirit says of relates to pastors. He who hears and obeys his superiors hears and obeys me, and he who despises them despises and disobeys me. 8. If the servant of God would fain walk with more security through so many snares scattered in every place, he should have a blessed lady as his mediatrix with her son. 9, the sick man may desire to get well, provided he steals his desire always with an if it please God. If it is good for my soul, we can do many good things in health which sickness hinders us from doing. 10 in sickness, we ought to ask God to give us patience, because it often happens that when a man gets well, he not only does not do the good he proposed to do when he was sick, but he multiplies his sins in his ingratitude. Mole is a blind rat, which always stays in the ground and eats earth and hollows it out, but is never satisfied with it. So is the avaricious man or woman. 12 penitents should never make vows without the advice of their spiritual fathers. If we do make such vows, it is best to make them conditionally. For example, I make a vow to have 2 masses said on S. Lucy's Day with this bargain: if I can, if I do not forget it, because if I do not remember it, I do not wish to be bound. I do not wish to be bound. I do not wish to be bound. If a man has wants to buy anything he ought not to do so because he is moved by an attachment to the thing, but from want and necessity, for it will never do to buy attachments. 15, certain little voluntary attachments of self-love must be cut through, and then we must dig round them and then remove the earth till we get down deep enough to find a place where they are rooted and interlaced together. 16, a person must be ready to endure, and through a virtuous motive he is mortified by others, and even when God permits him to be in battle with others and regarded and driven away as an infected sheep. 17, our enemy, the devil who fights with us in order to vanquish us, seeks to disunite us in the houses and to breed quarrels, dislikes contests and rivalries, because while we are fighting with each other, he comes and conquers us and makes us more securely his own. 18, he who does not think on the benefits he received from God in this life, and on those greater ones his mercy has prepared, and that other life of bliss does not nourish love to God, but chills and freezes it. 19, if a soul could altogether abstain from venial sins, the greatest pain it could have would be to be detained in this life. So great would its desire be of union with God. 20, in the persecutions which bad men excite against piety and devotion, we must keep our eyes on God, whom we serve, and on the testimony of a good conscience. 21, how patiently Christ, the King and Lord of heaven and earth, bore the apostles, enduring at their hands many incivilities and misbeliefs, they being but poor and rough fishermen. How much more ought we to bear with our neighbor if he treats us with incivility? We must give ourselves to God altogether. 23, God makes all his own the soul that is wholly given to it. It is as a general rule a bad sign when a man has not a particular feeling of devotion on the chief feasts of the year. Let us reflect that the word left heaven and stooped to become man for us. 26. Besides pardoning those who persecute us, we ought to feel pity for the delusion they are laboring under. 27. To one who really loves God, there is nothing more harassing or burdensome than life. The great thing is to become saints. In order to enter paradise, we must be well justified and well purified. Let the young man look after the flesh, and the old man after avarice, and we shall all be saints together. Where there is no great mortification, there is no great sanctity.
The sanctity of a man lies in the breadth of 3 fingers.
The forehead.
That is to say, in mortifying the understanding, which would fain reason upon things.
He who really wishes to become a saint must never defend himself, except in a few rare cases, but always acknowledge himself in fault, even when what is alleged against him is untrue.
What we know of the virtues of the saints is the least part of them.
The relics of the saints ought to be venerated, and we may laudably keep them in our room, but it is not well, unless for some grave occasion, to wear them on our persons, because it will often happen then that they are not treated with all the respect which is becoming. 9. The old patriarchs possessed riches and had wives and children, but they lived without defiling their affections with these things, although they possessed them, because they only allowed themselves the use of them, and were ready to abandon them in whatever way the majesty of God might require of them.
10.
We ought to pray God importunately to increase in us every day the light and heat of his goodness.
11.
It is an old custom with the servants of God always always to have some little prayers ready, and to be dotting them up to heaven frequently during the day, lifting their minds to God from out of the filth of this world. He who adopts this plan will get great fruit with little pains.
Of tribulations, if we bear them patiently, for the love of God appear bitter at first, but they grow sweet when one gets accustomed to the taste.
The man who loves God with a true heart and prizes him above all things sometimes sheds floods of tears and prayer and has an abundance of favors and spiritual feelings coming upon him with such vehemence that he is forced to cry out, Lord, let me be quiet. But a man ought not to seek for these sweetnesses and sensible devotions forcibly, for he will be easily deluded by the devil and will run a risk of injuring his health. When the soul lies resignedly in the hands of God and is contented with the divine pleasure, it is in good hands and has the best security that good will happen to it.
To be entirely conformed and resigned to the divine will is truly a road in which we cannot get wrong, and is the only road which leads us to taste and enjoy that peace which sensual and earthly men know nothing of.
Routine resignation is all in all to the sick man. He ought to say to God, Lord, if you want me, here I am, although I have never done any good. Do with me what you will. 18. Never make a noise of any sort in church, except for the greatest necessity. 19. Patience is necessary for the servant of God, and we must not be distressed in trouble, but wait for consolation.
20.
When seculars have once chosen their secular state, let them persevere in it, and in the devout exercises which they have begun, and in their works of charity, and they shall have contentment of their death.
21.
The vocation to the religious life is one of the great benefits which the Mother of God obtains from her Son for those who are devoted to her.
22.
There is nothing more dangerous in the spiritual life than to wish to rule ourselves after our own way of thinking.
21.
Among the things we ought to ask of God is perseverance in well-doing and in serving the Lord, because if we only have patience and persevere in the good life we have begun to lead, we shall acquire a most eminent degree of spirituality.
Glory, he is perfect in the school of Christ, who despises being despised, rejoices in self-contempt, and accounts himself to be very nothingness.
The way which God takes with the souls that love him by allowing them to be tempted and to fall into tribulations is a true espousal between himself and them.
20. In passing from a bad state to a good one, there is no need of counsel, but in passing from a good one to a better time, counsel and prayer must go to decision. We must continually pray to God for the conversion of sinners, thinking of the joy there is in heaven both to God and the angels in the conversion of each separate sinner. To speak of ourselves without cause, saying, I have said, I have done, incapacitates us for receiving spiritual consolations. We ought to desire to be in such a condition as to want sixpence and not be able to get it. Let us despise gold, silver, jewels, and all that the blind and cheated world vainly and ignorantly prizes. Let us learn here below to give God the confession of praise which we ought to hope to give him in heaven above. He who wishes to go to paradise must be an honest man and a good Christian, and not give heed to dreams. 8 fathers and mothers of families should bring up their children virtuously, looking at them rather as God's children than their own, and to count life and health and all they possess as loans which they hold of God. In saying the Pater Noster, we ought to reflect that we have God for our Father in heaven, and so go on making a sort of meditation of it word by word. Tend to make ourselves disaffected to the things of the world. It is a good thing to think seriously of the end of them, saying to ourselves, and then 11. The devil, who is the most haughty spirit, is never more completely mastered than by humility of heart and a simple, clear, undisguised manifestation of our sins and temptations to our confessor. 12. We ought not ordinarily to believe prophecies or to desire them, because it is possible there may be many deceits and snares of the devil therein. It is a most useful thing when we see another doing any spiritual good to his neighbor, to seek by prayer to have a part in that same good which the Lord is working by the hand of another. At communion, we ought to ask for the remedy of the vice to which we feel ourselves most inclined. 15. To him who truly loves God, nothing more displeasing can happen in the lack of occasion to suffer for him. 16, we ought to hate no one, for God never comes where there is no love of our neighbors. We must accept our own death and that of our relations when God shall send it to us, and not desire it at any other time, for it is sometimes necessary that it should happen at that particular moment for the good of our own and their souls. 18, the perfection of a Christian consists in knowing how to mortify himself for the love of Christ. He who desires ecstasies and visions does not know what he is desiring. 20, as for those who run after visions, dreams, and the like, we must lay hold of them by the feet and pull them to the ground by force, lest they should fall into the devil's net, when according to the rules of the fathers and ancient monks, whoever wishes to advance in perfection must hold the world in no reputation. For it is nothing more displeasing to God than our being inflated with self-esteem. When a man knows how to break down his own will and to deny his soul what it desires, he's got a good degree in virtue. When a man falls into any bodily infirmity, he must lie and think and say, God has sent me this sickness because he wishes something of me. I must therefore make up my mind to change my life and become better. When a man has a tribulation sent him from God and is impatient, we may say to him, you are not worthy that God should visit you. You do not deserve so great a good. Poverty and tribulations are given us by God as trials of our fidelity and virtue, as well as to enrich us with more real and lasting riches in heaven. Scruples ought to be most carefully avoided, as they disquiet the mind and make a man melancholy. Let us throw ourselves into the arms of God and be sure that if he wishes anything of us, he will make us good for all he desires us to do for him. Nothing helps a man more than prayer.
Persons who live in the world should persevere in coming to church to hear sermons and remember to read spiritual books, especially the lives of the saints. When temptation comes, a man should remember the sweetnesses he has had in prayer at other times, and he will thus easily master the temptation. The temptation. The fervor of spirituality is usually very great in the beginning, but afterwards the Lord fidgets along his sorrow, makes as though he would go farther. In such a case we must stand firm and not be disturbed, because God is then withdrawing his most holy hand of sweetnesses to see if we are strong, and then if we resist and overcome those tribulations and temptations, the sweetnesses and heavenly consolations return. We ought to apply ourselves to the acquisition of virtue, because in the end the whole terminates in greater sweetnesses than before, and the Lord gives us back all our favors and consolations double five. It is easy to infuse the most fervent devotion into others, even in a short time, but the great matter is to persevere. He who continues in anger, strife, and a bitter spirit has a taste of the air of hell, seven to obtain the protection of our blessed Lady in our most urgent wants. It is very useful to say 63 times after the fashion of a rosary, Virgin Mary, Mother of God, pray to Jesus for me. Pray to Jesus for me. When we make this prayer to our blessed Lady, we give her every possible praise and the least possible compass, because we call her by her name of Mary. And give her those two great titles of Virgin and Mother of God, and the name Jesus, the fruit of her most pure womb. The things of this world do not remain constantly with us, for if we do not leave them before we actually die, in death at least we all infallibly depart as empty-handed as we came. Attend to pray while requires the whole man at 11. The discipline and other like things ought not to be practiced without the leave of our confessor. He who does it of his own mind will either hurt his constitution or become proud and saying to himself that he has done some great thing. 12 God takes the delight in the human humility of a man who believes that he has not yet begun to do any good. 13. Before going to confession or taking counsel with our director, it will be very useful to pray for a sincere goodwill to become a really holy man. 14, he who runs away from one cross will meet a bigger one on his road. 15, Christ died for sinners. We must take us therefore and hope that paradise will be ours, provided only we repent of our sins and do good. Never let a sick man set himself to reason with the devil, otherwise he will inevitably be taken in. Let him appeal to his ghostly father, of whom the devil stands in mortal fear. 17, he who serves God must do the best he cannot to receive the reward of his labors in this world. In giving alms to the poor, we must act as good ministers of the providence of God. 19, he who feels that the vice of avarice has got hold of him should not wish to observe fasts of supererogation, but to give alms. 20, perfection cannot be attained without the greatest toil. 21, as soon as we are stripped of the sordid garb of avarice, we shall be clothed with the royal and imperial vest of the opposite virtue, liberality. Even in the midst of the crowd, we can be going on to perfection. 23, not everything which is better in itself is better for each man in particular. 24, be devout to the Madonna, keep yourself from sin, and God will deliver you from your evils. 25, if we wish to keep peace with our neighbors, we should never remind anyone of his natural reflex. We must sometimes bear with little defects in others, as we have against our own will to bear with natural defects in ourselves. 25, and a friend gonna dress like their equals and be accompanied by servants, as the state requires, but modesty should go along with it all. It all. We should not be quick at correcting others, but rather to think of ourselves first. Persons who live in the world should persevere in coming to church to hear sermons and remember to read spiritual books, especially the lives of the saints. When temptation comes, a man should remember the sweetness he has had in prayer at other times, and he will thus easily master the temptation. The fervor of spirituality is usually very great in the beginning, but afterwards the more things along your siren makes as though we would go farther. In such a case we must stand firm and not be disturbed, because God is then withdrawing his most holy hand of weaknesses to see if we are strong, and then if we resist and overcome those tribulations and temptations, the sweetnesses and heavenly consolations return. We ought to apply ourselves to the acquisition of virtue, because in the end the whole terminates in greater sweetnesses than before, and the Lord gives us back all our favors and consolations double 5. It is easy to infuse a most fervent
Never had one lesson. This is Candidate Congressman John Kitover. Thanks for coming to my YouTube Live. Hit the like button now. Subscribe and share the live stream now. Oi, eu sou o Jonatas, filho da Priscila tenho 15 anos. Eu moro em São Paulo, cidade de Ubatuba. Você sabe onde fica? Eu queria ficar famoso. Igual a vice, essa vice me ensina. Okay, everybody, hit that like button, subscribe now. The show is continuing. We're using our Meta Live. We are using Meta Ray-Ban to capture the moment here in my home office. This is the office of Candidate John. Thank you for being here. I hope you're having fun. I hope you're having as much fun as I am. I'm about to get my car battery replaced, hopefully. If the price is right. Is it going to be $200? Is it going to be $300? How much is it going to cost me?
Ocean into others, even in a short time, but the great matter is to persevere. He who continues in anger, strife, and a bitter spirit as a taste of the air of hell to obtain the protection of our blessed lady in our most urgent wants. It is very useful to say 63 times as the fashion of a rosary, Virgin Mary, Mother of God. Man has a right to live by his own law, to live in the way that he wills to do, to work as he will, to play as he will, to rest as he will, to die when and how he will. Man has the right to eat what he will, to drink what he will, to dwell where he will, to move as he will on the face of the earth. Man has the right to think what he will, to speak what he will, to write what he will, to draw, paint, carve, and mold, build as he will, to dress as he will. Man has the right to love as he will, take your fill and will of love as he will, when, where, and with whom he will. Man has the right to kill those who would what these rights of slaves shall serve. Love is the law, love and the will. The law of the strong, this is our law and the joy of the world. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Thou hast no right but to do thy will. To that I no other shall say nay. Every man and every woman is a star. There is no God but man. The rights of man. Master Therion, Freya Burrow, Alistair Crowley, the Master Alistair Crowley. Man has the right to live by his own law, to live in the way that he wills to do, to work as he will, to play as he will, to rest as he will, to die when and how he will. Man has the right to eat what he will, to drink what he will, to dwell where he will, to move as he will on the face of the earth. Man has the right to think what he will, to speak what he will, to write what he will, to draw, paint, carve, and mold, build as he will, to dress as he will. Man has the right to love as he will, take your fill and will of love as he will, when, where, and with whom he will. Man has the right to kill those who with what these rights slaves shall serve. Love is the law, love and the will. the strong, this is our law and the joy of the world. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Thou hast no right but to do thy will. Do that and no other shall say nay. Every man and every woman is a star. There is no God but man. The rights of man. Master Theory. Alistair Crowley. Alistair Crowley. Master Alistair Crowley. Man has the right to live by his own law, to live in the way that he wills to do, to work as he will, to play as he will, to rest as he will, to die when and how he will. Man has the right to eat what he will, to drink what he will, to dwell where he will, to move as he will on the face of the earth. Man has the right to think what he will, to speak what he will, to write what he will, to draw, paint, carve, etch, mold, build as he will, to dress as he will. Man has the right to love as he will, take your fill and will of love as he will, when, where, and with whom ye will. Man has the right to kill those who would thwart these rights. Slaves shall serve. Love is the law, love and the will. The law of the strong, this is our law of the world. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Thou hast no right but to do thy will. Do that and no other shall say nay. Every man and every woman is a star. There is no God but man. The rights of man. Master Therion. Freda Butterball. Alistair Crowley. Alistair Crowley. Master Alistair Crowley. By his own law, to live in the way that he wills to do, to work as he will, to play as he will, to rest as he will, to die when and how he will. Man has the right to eat what he will, to drink what he will, to dwell where he will, to move as he will on the face of the earth. Man has the right to think what he will, to speak what he will, to write what he will, to draw, paint, carve, etch, mold, build as he will, to dress as he will. Man has the right to love as he will, take your fill and will, love as you will, when, where, and with whom you will. Man has the right to kill those who would thwart these rights. The slave shall serve, love is the law, love under will. The law of the strong, this is our law, and the joy of the world. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
star. There is no God but man. The rights of man, Master Theory and Frida Perturabo, Aleister Crowley, Aleister Crowley, the Master, Aleister Crowley. Man has a right to live by his own law, to live in the way that he wills to do, to work as he will, to pay as he will, to rest as he will, to die when and how he will. Man has the right to eat what he will, to drink what he will, to dwell where he will, to move as he will on the face of the earth. Man has the right to think what he will, to speak what he will, to write what he will, to draw, paint, garbage, mold, build as he will, to dress as he will. Man has the right to love as he will, take and fill in the will of love as he will, when, where, and with whom he will. Man has the right to kill those who would thwart these rights. The slave shall serve, love is the law, love under will. The law of the strong, this is our law, and the joy of the world. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the Lord. Thou hast no right but to do thy will, do that, and no other shall say nay. Every man and every woman is a star. There is no God but man. The rights of man, Master Theory and Frida Perturabo, Aleister Crowley, Aleister Crowley, the Master, Aleister Crowley. Man has a right to live by his own law, to live in the way that he wills to do, to work as he will, to play as he will, to rest as he will, to die when and how he will. Man has a right to eat what he will, to drink what he will, to dwell where he will, to move as he will on the face of the earth. Man has the right to think what he will, to speak what he will, to write what he will, to draw, paint, garbage, mold, build as he will, to dress as he will. Man has the right to love as he will, take your fill and will, love as he will, when, where, and with whom he will. Man has the right to kill those who would thwart these rights. The slave shall serve, love is the law, love under will. The law of the strong, this is our law, and the joy of the world. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the Lord. Thou hast no right but to do thy will, do that, and no other shall say nay. Every man and every woman is a star. There is no God but man. The rights of man, Master Theory and Frida Perturabo, Aleister Crowley, Aleister Crowley, the Master, Aleister Crowley. Man has the right to live by his own law, to live in the way that he wills to do, to work as he will, to play as he will, to rest as he will, to die when and how he will. Man has the right to eat what he will, to drink what he will, to dwell where he will, to move as he will on the face of the earth. Man has the right to think what he will, to speak what he will, to write what he will, to draw, paint, carve, etch, mold, build as he will, to dress as he will. Man has the right to love as he will, take your fill and will love as he will, when, where, and who he will.
Man has the right to kill those who would want these rights. The slave shall serve. Love is the law, love under will. The law of the strong. This is our law and the joy of the world. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Thou hast no right but to do thy will. Do that and no other shall say nay. Every man and every woman is a star. There is no God but man. The rights of man, master of theory and freedom to the rabble. Aleister Crowley, Aleister Crowley, the master Aleister Crowley. Man has the right to live by his own law. To live in the way that he wills, to do, to work as he will, to play as he will, to rest as he will, to die when and how he will. Man has the right to eat what he will, to drink what he will, to dwell where he will, to move as he will on the face of the earth. Man has the right to think what he will, to speak what he will, to write what he will, to draw, paint, carve, etch, mold, build as he will, to dress as he will. Man has the right to love as he will, take your fill and love as he will, when, where, and with whom he will. Man has the right to kill those who would thwart these rights. The slave shall serve. Love is the law, love under will. The law is strong. This is our law and the joy of the world. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Thou hast no right but to do thy will. Do that and no other shall say nay. Every man and every woman is a star. There is no God but man. The rights of man, master theory, unfree to play rival. Aleister Crowley, Aleister Crowley, the master Aleister Crowley. Man has the right to live by his own law. To live in the way that he wills, to do, to work as he will, to play as he will, to rest as he will, to die when and how he will. Man has the right to eat what he will, to drink what he will, to dwell where he will, to move as he will on the face of the earth. Man has the right to think what he will, to speak what he will, to write what he will, to draw, paint, carve, etch, mold, build as he will, to dress as he will. Man has the right to love as he will, take your fill and will love as he will, when, where, and with whom he will. Man has the right to kill those who avoid these rights. The slave shall serve. Love is the law, love under will. The law of the strong. This is our law and the joy of the world. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Thou hast no right but to do thy will. Do that and no other shall say nay. Every man and every woman is a star. There is no God but man. The rights of man, master theory, and freedom. Aleister Crowley, Aleister Crowley, the master Crowley. Man has a right to live by his own law, to live in the way that he wills, to do, to work as he will, to play as he will, to rest as he will, to die when and how he will. Man has a right to eat what he will, to drink what he will, to dwell where he will, to move as he will on the face of the earth. Man has a right to think what he will, to speak what he will, to write what he will, to draw, paint, carve, etch, mold, build as he will, to dress as he will. Man has a right to love as he will, take your fill and will of love as he will, when, where, and with whom he will. Man has a right to kill those who would thwart these rights. Slaves shall serve. Love is the law. Love under will. The law is strong. This is our law and the joy of the world. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Thou hast no right but to do thy will. Do that no other shall say nay. Every man and every woman is a star. There is no God but man. The rights of man, master there. Mr. Crowley, man has the right to live by his own law. Man has a right to live by his own law.